Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Well folks, it's finally time to talk about a period of bleakness. A period of twisted humanoid aberrations and the decay of human morality. This is also known as the Dark Age of comics. There are a number of factors that contributed to the Dark Age, though most people attribute it to Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. Suddenly, comic books were in the public eye, and seeing quote-unquote realism in its stories, with ambiguous morality and having real-world issues present in stories, was suddenly the hot topic. In reality, a lot of real-world issues have been creeping into comics since the 60s, it's just no one really paid too much attention to it until those two stories. They were so radically different from what had been on the market before that it changed the industry. The problem is that people didn't quite understand why they changed the industry. The assumption was that because the stories were dark, that must have been why they were so successful. The truth was that they were just complex stories, and in Watchmen's case, everything was so well developed, foreshadowed, and had such complex characterization and moral themes that it was a work of genius. But then again, like Hollywood, whenever something is successful, the comic industry oversimplified things and decided that the reason was because of the dark storylines. Suddenly, characters had to be grim and gritty, with melodramatic narration and looser ethics when it came to crime fighting. And of course, the artwork reflected this gritty style, assisted by our old pal, Rob Liefeld. There are several characteristics of the Dark Age of comics, but for today's subject, we're going to talk about the artwork. People were beginning to pick up comics not because of interesting storylines or characters, but because of the art. Liefeld and other artists had an art style that was so different from traditional sequential artwork that it was considered new and edgy. And in the early 1990s, the artists were pissed. Dissatisfaction with Marvel's payment policies and ownership rights of characters caused a group of artists, including Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, and others, to band together, leave the company, and start their own, Image Comics. The focus was more on artwork instead of writing, and while sales were initially strong, over the years, continued delays on books and continually crappy art and writing caused people to suddenly realize what the hell it was they were paying for, and attitudes shifted away. By the late 1990s, most of the grim and gritty style of heroics were tossed aside in favor of more traditional heroes, and since then Image has changed its ways. After all, as Superman once put it, "These no-nonsense solutions of yours just don't hold water in a world of jet-powered apes and time travel." Today's subject was Image's first book off the press, and ironically, the first book I ever did a text review of back in 2007. As such, let's dig into Youngblood number 1. Let's forgive for a second that the anatomy of these guys is suspect. Let's forgive that this is a dime-a-dozen group shot with everyone clumped together. Let's forgive the fact that we can't see their eyes on any of them, hence why I coined the term Youngblood's disease. Let's forgive all of that. But now let's get into the coloring. This is ridiculous! I can barely tell where one hero begins and another ends. You look at teams like the Justice League or the Titans, and each hero has a unique look and usually a colorful characteristic that makes them distinct. With this cover, they're all blending together, but then again, it's not like we'll see them as that distinct anyway. Right before the first page, there's a cardboard profile box featuring the only female hero of the Youngblood home team, Vogue. Here it is revealed that underneath her patriotic and independent skin beats the heart of a Russian defector. Because, you know, when I think patriotic, I think a purple and white bodysuit, clown face makeup, and huge shoulder pads too. The first page opens up, according to the comic, in Washington, D.C. at 12:17 p.m. A man and woman are out shopping. We get a smattering of tiny bits of exposition as we learn the man is named Jeff and that his date Shelley wouldn't believe the reports we have to fill out. Yeah, those TPS reports are a bitch. And as you can see here, just like on the cover, Jeff has no eyes. Look out, Daredevil! There's a new blind superhero on the block! A thief runs past several mall walkers down the escalators, and Jeff leaps down to apprehend him. His hips are pushed out at odd angles while he leaps from an implausible side angle, only for the next panel to see him tackling the thief from a straight angle at the thief's back. Physics! Jeff berates the thief with this splendid dialogue. "'Tis the season for giving, not stealing." Dude, it's July! A narration box reveals that a good hero can never let a crime go unpunished. Okay, then who do I have to punish for this comic? We cut to an assassin lining up a rather bizarre-looking gun that looks more like it's designed for caulking than long-distance shots. A voice warns Jeff of the danger, and I'm sure it was meant to come from Shelley, even though the dialogue balloon seems to indicate that it came from the assassin himself. Jeff's body now looks like it's ballooned out so he can be an extra in Weird Al's Fat music video. He grabs a pen from his pocket and tosses it at the assassin. This somehow hits the assassin back with enough force to knock him off of a ledge. Physics! A bunch of onlookers reveal that our friend Jeff here is Shaft.
Shut your mouth.
I'm just talking about Shaft.
Then we can dig it.
Jeff begins to search the body. And by search, I mean he holds out his hand towards the body and says, "No ID, no pulse, no answers, no editor." From what I've read, Youngblood came about because Liefeld had been interested in doing a Teen Titans book for DC, and that Shaft here was supposed to be Roy Harper. As such, it's quite a shock to learn that Roy can search bodies just by looking at them. Shaft gets a call from HQ and apologizes to Shelley as he runs off. Shelley looks dreamily at her boyfriend and says, "Go nail him!" And if that means hammering nails into our skulls with the artwork, trust me, he's already done that. We cut to Baltimore, Maryland, 12:32 p.m.
My name's Friday. I carry a badge.
Here we meet Bedrock, later Badrock because of legal issues. The Grey Mama's boy who's eating lunch as he gets the call to come into the HQ as well. He even asks to be excused as the mother says how proud she is of him. And by the perpetual smile on her face, I'd think the Stepford Wives had been made into a comic book if not for the fact that even though it's the 90s, she has a head of 80s hair. We then cut to Arlington, Virginia, underground, 12:44 p.m. And I start to wonder what the hell's taking HQ so long as they appear to be calling their agents in 10-minute intervals. Anyway, in underground, we meet the next Youngblood member, Die Hard, with a vengeance! Okay, it's just Die Hard, but seriously, did Rob Liefeld even think these names as he was planning them? Although I do admit, Bruce Willis coming in and smacking these dorks around would have elevated the comic in my eyes. So what does this mysterious, eyeless character laying on a multicolored slab have to say? "I am needed. This time I must make better use of my freedom. With a vengeance!" Okay, I'll stop now. Cut to almost half an hour later in the same location, only above ground now, where the buzz-cut Youngblood member Chapel is in bed with a naked woman as he gets his own call from HQ. He tells her to go and that she should leave her number. We then see Chapel in his iconic costume, even though it's only like 2 seconds later. The outfit consists of a leather jacket, red pants, skull face paint, and a gun right out of Men in Black. His inner monologue gives us this insightful wisdom. "You gotta give 'em hope. As Shaft would say, it's good PR." Dude, there is no PR firm in the world that could make that outfit look impressive or manly. Cut to 5 hours later as we see Vogue hopping around rooftops of Washington, D.C., revealing that she knows she got the call a few hours ago. Shaft's probably pacing the halls by now. They think I'm at their beck and call. Let 'em wait! Remember, kids, she's patriotic. We finally cut to what I can only presume is HQ, since there isn't any establishing caption to reveal this, which is weird considering every other place we've been to gave us one. Shaft comes in and we see him walking up to a huge-ass computer console where a normal-looking woman and a person with flaming green hair named Photon are. Shaft suddenly acts like a complete asshole as he says for no particular reason, "Oh, so we get the pleasure of your company tonight, Photon?" I'd question the relevance of that panel, but then again it's not like any of these panels have been all that essential to this comic. The rest of the Youngblood team shows up and Shaft berates Vogue for being late. Before they can get in a good little dialogue about what exactly our fearless team leader will do if she shows up late again, the woman at the control chair reveals that there's a request for assistance coming in. Wait a second, what the heck was it that required Youngblood's presence 5 hours ago that they were called in for? Shaft asks what the situation is, and the woman reports that one of Youngblood's transport vehicles is under attack. She says it's strong arm engage! The 4! Actually that's only 2, and why the need for 3 exclamation points? While Vogue tries to cover up that bit of idiotic dialogue by asking, "Didn't we put 2 of them away?" Die Hard and Chapel say that strong arm and Gage are attempting to make an escape attempt. So Shaft orders, Art attack! Take cover! The artwork's coming right for us! Cut to some random street in what I can only presume is Washington, D.C., since again, the establishing captions have abandoned us. We do get captions of a few bits of dialogue, albeit they're all colored white, so we have no idea who's saying it unless they say the other person's name. "Let's make this one quick, team. The 4 have never really been that tough. I want strong arm this time. He's all yours, Die Hard." So, is it possible to live hard? Strong arm, like our old pal Mech Max from Dooms 4, has no visible joints to speak of for his arm.